Got it. Hey, Juliana. Oh,
Is she away?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
It's nice to see you.
You too. I love the background.
I know.
We're in the library. We're in the library. It's very hot in the other room.
Kevin and I just did this today.
Yeah.
This is-
Everybody looks so tan and refreshed.
Yeah. Next month. Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. Next month. You look very tan.
Yeah, you do look really tan and good.
I've been working on it, thanks.
Lucky you.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
Let's see if we have any guests here. Just us
All right.
so far.
That's okay.
And
Can you leave it open so?
yeah. Yeah, I'll put this right here. And you have it too, Gina? Or
Oh,
you don't have to. I can monitor it.
or Liana.
I can monitor it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys ready to rock?
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Let's call this meeting
Right
to
there.
order at 7:11. Thank you.
There we go.
I did the same thing. I said, oh, I know we have two in here.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there another one? Is there another one? Oh, I think you said there's two.
Yeah, there was another one by the desk, but it's missing.
I was gonna say. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from our June 20th? Yes. And does anyone have any comments, changes, edits? And if not, can I have a motion to approve? I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes. June 20th, 2023. Regular session.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Excellent. So I don't think we have any visitors. We can just move on down the list here. Anyone received any correspondence from community? input?
No.
No. Nope.
no.
Move on to the examination and then authorization for the payment of bills.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very late today, I recreated the bill roll. It's in your packet accurately. So it looks like this. It has notes on the right side. Everyone has it. So what I did was I separated out the previously approved bills that I approved 2 weeks ago and then sent to the town finance department for payment. And the bills that you saw tonight for the first time. I also have a detailed list of what they were, if you have any questions, but they were very, very typical. The bills I paid last week were bus bills. When you see somebody's name, there's two people's names on the first page. They are individuals who are transporting their own children to out-of-district placements rather than a bus, which is extremely economical for the school district. Easter seals, as someone asked me, I think last meeting, why we have Easter seals, but they do certain services. Jessica Martineau got money because the principal and her decided that she needed to order some materials and did so, and this is paying them back. Brenda Christensen is our psychologist. That was for I'm doing more detail tonight because you didn't see some of this. Okay. Brenda Christensen is our psychologist who does evaluations. The North Shore Educational Consortium, obviously, we're a member of it. They do a variety of things for us. We have our exterminators. We had an elevator maintenance while our electrician came and did some work. We have our Verizon and AT&T bill. The Quadient leasing is for the leasing of the photostat machine. Murphy, Bessie, Toomey, Lahane are the bills. They come in the group name, but that's Mary Ellen Swarta, who is our sped attorney. Decker Equipment is, she just told me. It's something we needed to do, and we bought things, do you remember?
No, Decker.
No, it's not on there, it was one I approved. But I did check it, and the bill has been paid, by the way. Obviously, National Grid is what it is, and this is our last Seaside payment. And our food service department ended up in the black this year, which is good.
Wow, great.
So of the $29,679.28, $17,615.17 was previously approved by me. So now you're gonna, consistent with your authorization that you gave me, you are now going to approve it. My authorization says in the first meeting after I approve them, you will approve them. And then there are $12,064.11 worth of new ones. Okay. So Madam Chair, I respectfully ask members of the school committee to make a motion for the expenditure of $29,679.28, cognizant of the fact that the majority of that has already been spent under my authorization, but your imprimatur is important.
I'll make a motion to approve the bill roll of $29,679.28 for the expenditures dated 7/18/23. The bill roll.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Madam Chair, I believe that is the last bill roll for fiscal 23. The only other item I want you to, there's two items I want you to know about as a committee, being the fiscal authority in the district. Number one is that I have been postponing the payment of $11,000 and some odd cents to our alarm company, Instant Alarm, waiting for the end of the correction for certain things that have happened. You actually authorized that bill in May 9th to be exact. I am authorizing the town accountant to pay that bill, even though there's one or two very tiny things left undone. Very simple reason. That's fiscal 22 money. If you remember, I encumbered that money, and we absolutely have to spend it in fiscal 23, or else I have to take $11,000 out of next year's budget, which makes no sense, and go to town meeting. No. So I knew you would want that. And then the other one is a $517 bill that is hanging over us. You approved the payment. You did not approve the payment of the bill in February when it came before you, because your superintendent's in a silly moment of optimism said the insurance company was going to pay for that. If you remember when we had the pipe broke, so there was $517 worth of a plumbing bill, in addition to the ruined materials, which we've already been paid for. Unbeknownst to me, until about a month ago, they never got paid. So I've been going back and forth with the town fiscal director and with the individual at town hall who takes care of the insurance paperwork. And come to find out, for some reason, that bill was omitted from the total invoices that were presented to the insurance company. So today I said, I'm going to pay it tonight. I got a last minute communication from town hall. Don't pay it. Emma, Maya is going to pay it. The insurance company is going to pay it. And if the plumbers are upset because it's taken so long, to forward their complaint to them, and they'll take care of explaining it why. But I did want you to know that, because that's not us.
Right.
You know, we don't have a bill. We don't not pay a bill. And I wanted you to know that it wasn't because we missed it, it was because it is going to be handled in the manner in which I thought it would be with the insurance company paying it. It's just months after I thought it was gonna happen. And that's it.
Thank you. Moving on to the superintendent's report. We're done.
Oh,
We did.
Yes.
It's okay. You're still on vacation.
Blame the cooler.
Moving on to the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would respectfully ask the school committee to consider me posting the August and perhaps even September school committee meetings in this room.
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
great.
yeah. No, that would be lovely.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can do, we can.
Yeah.
The difficulty tonight is it was posted for 2:01, but obviously you can see how many people are put out by the move. And there is a sign posted inside in case somebody comes. There's absolutely, I really worked hard today with James to cool that room, and it's impossible. I mean, I had, you know, I think the chair saw that I had this monster fan in there.
Yeah, but this is great.
So until the weather turns, I think we should post and hold our meetings here.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And Madam Chair, with your permission, I will turn this portion of the meeting over to our illustrious principal.
Thank you, Superintendent Parentozzi. Madam Chair, I'm happy to share my report with you tonight. At the top of the sheet here, I actually wanted to add that since our last meeting, I worked with Sherry April on how to add more detail to the calendar items so that when folks click on an item that's happening, we'd be able to see what was needed for that event. And Google allows you to make a notes sheet associated with the calendar item. And then she can share that with me if I'm making the event and I have more information about it. I plug that in. And so I tried that out with our first day of school. And on the first day of school event, which is August 29th, I was able to add drop-off procedures, times, when the preschool screening is, all those types of things. For enrichment camp, I was able to add, you know, information about that as well. And so I think it was a great suggestion. I think it's going to help me be organized about, okay, let's get everything about this event on one place.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of your goals. And so we're able to achieve that, and going forward, we'll be doing that. And we've also looked at dates for the winter concert, spring concert, and all the things that we know happen every year.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I want to say enrichment camp, I think is going great. We have 39 students enrolled. We only had one student that decided it wasn't for them, which was fine. I think that's a great percentage in terms of folks enjoying it. We are boosting the academic level in the classes, but I think it's also nicely tied in with science, crafts, and outdoor time. So I think it's a good balance. You've hired teachers to be part of it. And so I think it's important to use their skills to the best of their ability to close gaps, get students strong for the school year, but also it is their summertime, so we want to make it engaging. So we recognize that, and we're trying to meet that level of expectation of the students while also including a lot of academics, or a good shot at academics, I'll say. We have outdoor reading groups, writing time. The day starts off with a science lesson, and that's kind of the theme that we work. We have early MCAS results from the state. I went to an online workshop about how to use those. Right now, it's only item analysis, so you have to do the analysis yourself still, but we are able to share that information with curriculum associates. At the webinar, I asked them, they're encouraging us to do as much as we can now with the data early. I don't have results to share with you. I haven't crunched the numbers. And I think it makes most sense to really wait for curriculum associates to put that together for us. And that's what they're doing now. But we should have it at the start of the school year, which is fantastic.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may, spending hours crunching our numbers without comparison data from other districts
Yeah.
and the state data is, at this point in the summer, probably not a good use of Mr. Andrews' time. I mean, it'd be one thing if we were in a big district and we had a, you know, a data analyst team. But even then, it probably takes, it's all gonna be done by the computers.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all raw still, so.
There's no driving need like a grant or something like that, so.
Right. But I know the teachers are interested in jumping right to it when we start,
Yeah.
and so I'm glad to be able to provide that.
It may help to have some of that data for the Acceleration Academy,
Mhm.
so that we know where to target the ELA and the math.
We've been able to pull out the students that were registered and get their iReady scores. And so we are using that as well for the current enrichment.
Yep.
And
That's just as good.
Yep, it is.
That's great.
I'd like to let you know that we had some garden signs donated by Peg Curran. She did a fantastic job. There was a special event that I told you about that was going to be happening in July, and it did. These are temporary signs in the garden. I explained to Peg and Diana Brandy that it would be important for the school committee to see them in advance and to determine if we could make them permanent. So I'm hoping tonight you could take a vote and determine if the signs that we've put around the school grounds could be permanent. They label the gardens and they also include names of the plants on them. And we're hoping to add a QR code where someone could scan it with their phone and see what plants are there and learn a little bit more about that garden spot. Yeah, it's great. We had 143 guests come for that garden tour on July 8th, and we had some alumni, Nikki and Lily Carr, provide tours. The Acceleration Academy is funded thanks to Superintendent Parentos's fine work on the grant proposal. It's open to students entering grades K to 6 at our school. We have 42 students who are already registered. And I had the breakdown there of the ages. We have 12 kindergartners, first through second grade, we have 13, and third through fifth, we have 16. I haven't relaunched the enrollment yet because we just found out about the funding.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and offer it again to families so that if they didn't have a chance to enroll, they could, and also to confirm the folks that are enrolled that they'll be coming. I've been working on a new class schedule for the upcoming school year. It's a little bit different because we have we're looking to have multi-grade classes in the next school year. And I talked to the specialist teachers about what classes they thought that would work well in and what classes they thought should remain more separate.
Yeah.
And so I got the results from that. We're looking to combine classes for PE and music. And I think that's a good decision. And also looking to have music lessons on the stage. Mr. Bullock was really excited about that opportunity because it lets him use the instruments. But in order to do that, we're going to have to not have music during lunch. And so that puts a little kink in the schedule, but I think it's going to work out great because he is interested in having more combined classes. So he wants to have 29 students at once singing, which I think is good for music.
Yeah, and he can do it. I mean, the
That's true.
concert was so successful.
It was
You
Mm.
know, everybody was.
Yep, yeah, that's great. He does. He has the management techniques
Yeah.
and motivation, certainly. And I'd like to let you know also, I am getting a lot of teacher input on the schedule. Specialists have expressed their interests and what they thought would be smart to have groupings. And then I'm going to be sharing with classroom teachers to see how they see it works, and we'll move forward. Under community enrichment, I already spoke about the Nahant Native Gardens Tour. I was part of that, and I really thought it was a wonderful event, and I'm glad to have folks for that. And then I also wanted to let you know that we're working on the parent portal. We've printed the report cards to the portal. I've also reviewed how they use they have an updated grade book for teachers to use so that they can put in major assignments.
Oh.
And write down, and then post those grades. So I'm gonna be presenting that to the staff in the fall and hopefully adopting that aspect of the portal as well. So it may not just be report cards, but also quizzes and tests. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Siri. Shush.
Is the
Please.
portal eventually maybe going to include like registration information that can be done online? So like those those really tedious packets that we fill out every year.
Yeah.
With like,
So,
pediatrician,
Yeah.
dentist, like maybe
Yeah.
that could all be digital.
so I'll
Pie
tell
in the
you,
sky.
4 years ago, we did that. And I launched it. And the office staff found it challenging to manage both paper and digital. And so it was taken down. The option, I thought it'd be great because you could just, in the summertime, you don't have to wait till the office is open. I'm happy to revisit that. We have been able to,
Does it need to be printed?
I think, I know that some office staff have found that it's helpful to have a hard copy. One change we did make, I hope you recognize, is that we are able to give you the information that we have in School Brain, so you don't have to write down your home address again. And in that, see, in the
Right.
start of the school year, I think you get a pink sheet
Yeah.
with,
And just
and would
update.
do
Yeah,
changes.
yeah.
So that was the step that we took. So that, because I did feel, badly about getting these packets out all the time.
And then for
Yeah.
multiple children.
There,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, there are ways to shortcut and short circuit some of the labor.
Mhm.
But I can tell you, for example, in the health office,
I was just thinking,
you
in case,
have to do it
like
on
if there was
paper.
not access to the computer and it was an emergency, I could imagine that you'd want it printed.
That's right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Plus, if anything ever happened to the data entry,
Right,
we'd be lost.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we could obviously redo it, but if there was an emergency between
Alright.
getting it
Oh,
redone.
100%, yeah,
So that, and that's a lot of it now, because a lot of the other data that we were asking you parents to put in over and over again. The system now puts it in for you. Obviously, it does need reviewing.
Mhm.
But we can revisit it, but I do know that the staff was not pleased.
okay. It's just questions.
Yeah, but like even some of the other forms, like the permissions for different things too. Like, I mean, do you need to have those on, like, those are kind of outside of like medical stuff and?
Yeah, I could certainly, one is permission. One new form was part of the PTO directory, for example, and I made that only a Google form.
Yeah,
We could certainly have walking permission slip,
Yeah.
only a Google form.
yeah,
So that you don't have to do the paper on a lot of those things, and I think that would be helpful. To have that way, so that we have less input, we don't have to do all that data entry.
Right.
The worry I have,
Mhm.
because we don't own a signature system,
We don't have DocuSign or something.
we don't have DocuSign.
Mhm.
And we have to have it. If you're gonna allow a child to walk to school.
Yeah.
On a printed name,
Mhm.
I'm concerned about that,
okay, I got you.
for the liability.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a big decision for,
Right.
I mean, for sixth grader, it's not a decision, but for a second grader, we think. An older brother did it,
Right.
just
Not as
making this
easy,
up.
Yeah,
But for photo opt-out, we could probably do it,
Yeah, we can do
Yeah.
some things.
those types of things.
The other thing we should be looking at is how to consolidate permissions. How to have
Yeah.
one
For all
document
3 kids.
with all 3 kids and with multiple permissions on it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
Yes.
a checklist, yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
So we'll take another look at that.
sure,
Sherry's our expert, so we will ask her.
okay.
Yeah.
great.
We get, we're like everybody else, we get locked into doing things the way we do
Yeah.
them from our perspective.
Yeah.
From our perspective, it's really easy to go to a
Don't
file
fix
and
it,
open it,
Yeah.
especially somebody like me. With the technology skills of an aardvark.
Yeah, now, we've come a long way.
so working on the parent portal, and we'll have, next step will be sending parents their email credentials. And then they'll be able to see some information there. And then below, I have some upcoming events. Professional Development Day is August 28th, our first day of school for grades 1 to 6. is August 29th. Also, that's the day of preschool orientation and the start of kindergarten screening. And on the front page of the website now, instead of a newsletter, you see all the back to school information.
Great.
So that I shared that sheet with you a few meetings ago that had, the start times, how to sign up for lunch bunch, how to sign up for after school, all those links. So that's what folks are seeing on the website.
For the August 28th, the professional development day, is that the day typically that the school committee members attend? Yeah, I just
I
wanted
have
to
the
make.
day off, I can come
Oh,
here.
perfect.
It is actually that day, and
Okay.
we asked for a speaker. I'll ask if the chair or somebody else would be able to address the.
And you're all invited.
Oh, yes, and you're all invited, yes, absolutely. And
Kevin's buying a huge bird, no.
Yes.
so that's the date, August 28th.
Yeah,
Do we have a
right
time?
around the corner.
It's
Don't say that.
typically, it's 8 to 8:30 is a hello and informal arrival. And then 8:30 is we start with the greetings.
Madam Chair, if I may expand on the back to school concept, I have a couple of announcements that aren't on the agenda, but I think they're simply announcements requiring no action. A member of the school committee mentioned to me a while ago that the late buses in Swampscott were timed so that they weren't convenient for students taking after school activities.
Yep.
So I'm remembering that right. Thank goodness, because I spent a lot of time on it.
I'm
So,
grateful for this.
Yes.
It's so great.
Yes.
so I communicated with the middle school principal. I communicated with the high school principal, and I communicated with the bus company. And it took a while to get it all together because one person was out for this week and one person was out for this. So actually, yesterday, I was able to really nail it down. And I sent an email today, actually, to the staff involved in calendars and communications. We are moving the middle school late bus to 3:45 and the high school late bus to 4 o'clock. And it really has two important features. Number one, it will capture the students who do clubs and academic work after school at both schools. And two, it will eliminate students not having any activities, but staying for the late bus, if you get my drift.
Yes.
In other words, the late bus was timed so that if I was dismissed and I didn't have anything to do, I could hang around and hop on the late bus. Now it's much longer time to wait. And we think the bus company and I thought it would cut down on kids just waiting around, not taking the bus right after school. So that will be on publicized to multiple ways. And thank you for who, I don't remember who told me about that, but thank you. Today, the town manager, the town administrator brought over an architect and the director of the Council on Aging to look at the building. The town is ready to spend a considerable amount of money on a new kitchen at Town Hall. So the town administrator said, why don't we look at your kitchen? And the possibility, I want to emphasize, early possibility discussion of maybe the Council on Aging taking some of our space permanently. It's not a good blend for a variety of reasons. It's a wonderful blend to have our senior citizens in an elementary school.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The problem is where we have our space, there's no plumbing. If we redid the kitchen, then what would we do for our students? So we were talking about, having the students not go into the kitchen, get their lunch, staying out in the cafeteria and having windows, lots and lots of things. I made the suggestion that if you could probably run the plumbing from the bathrooms right near the main entrance, under the gym, in the dungeon, all the way to the current library, because that's the space we're thinking of the COA taking.
Yeah.
Right here. And then our library, I mean, a library is a library, we can move this anywhere. It's not an inexpensive proposition, but I wanted you to know about it very early in the discussion. This discussion took place years ago with a previous town administrator also, and didn't go anywhere. I don't believe it's worthy of our time at this table at this time, unless you would want to. It's extremely preliminary. I think the town administrator was thinking, well, if it's gonna cost X to do it in a confined space that's only used by the Council on Aging, would it make sense to spend X times some number and have the school benefit, have the program benefit, etc.
I missed how the school benefits.
The school would benefit from having a group of senior citizens, and we would start a more active grandparenting program. It's cutting edge. I mean, anyone who's building a Council on Aging building now is attaching it to an elementary school. I mean,
I get that, we actually have Phoenix grandmothers in two
Yeah.
of our buildings for that reason, but I get the intrinsic value of having, the wisdom of the community here next to you, but I'm wondering if there are other, that's a huge project and expense, and I'm wondering if there's any cost benefit or cost sharing from the Council on Aging, maybe
Oh,
like joint
of course.
course, things like that, that we would benefit from all that.
none of this cost will be ours.
Okay, all right, that's what.
I'm
kids are-
sorry.
it costs a
Did
lot.
I lead you to believe that it would be a
It might be
finance?
only me,
Okay,
so, which is
Quite-
fine, I just wanted
quite the
to,
opposite.
okay, all
Um,
right,
This would be a combination of 3 sources of income, none of which are our budget. Number one, because we are an emergency shelter for the town.
Yep.
There are emergency management funds that could be used to put a kitchen in. Because if there were a long-term emergency, we don't have a kitchen. So the emergency management leaders prefer a kitchen. Particularly in an isolated community like ours, where you're not gonna drive anywhere and get food. The causeway goes down. Number two, there would be other types of grants involving care for the aged, putting them in a better space. And number three, the third source would be the an article at town meeting.
it's great.
I apologize if I led you to believe that it would be your funds.
Just out of curiosity, because I'm not really familiar with the group, do they have a food kitchen every day? Is that what they do?
They serve one meal 5 days a week, year round.
Okay,
And it's a little bit more complex than ours.
yeah,
Sanitary.
I also thought it would be appropriate for me to recommend that the Council on Aging look into the system we use. I don't know if it's less expensive or more expensive.
The seaside, the lunch system.
Yeah, having food brought in and not spending a lot of money on a kitchen. If movement here is the ultimate decision. And again, we're far away. I mean,
I just wasn't,
yeah, you're in charge of the building, the Board of Selectmen would have to agree to it. My guess is we would have to have some public meetings to have the senior citizens give their opinion. And and all residents to give their opinion. But again, I didn't want someone to say something to you and you go, what are you talking about?
thank you.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that.
The last thing I have, which is an announcement, is the town is having a security issue with their technology. So they are adding a second step to their emails. it's just the,
Like dual authentication.
yeah, they're adding authentication. They haven't decided whether they're gonna be doing it through a text, through an email, or some other, I guess there's a more interactive way. Where the person has to give something back. I bring it up because we have not had those issues. We have stronger firewalls than the town because we are required to have strong firewalls by E-rate. You know, we get the federal funds, about $3,100 a year, and because of that, we have strong, stronger firewalls. Although if somebody, you know, if somebody wants in, they're in.
Yep.
So, I wanted you to know that I will be asking Charles and Kevin to look into whether or not we should have a second tier of authentication. As you could probably tell, I have no idea what I just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think it's like my bank. I go to my bank account online and they don't tell me anything until they send me something and I send it back.
Yeah.
That's the way I think of it.
Yeah.
The downside of this, Madam Chair and members of the committee, is there are members of our of our staff who may believe that that would be a change of working conditions.
It isn't. I mean,
How's that changing?
It's-
the
it's
condition? Rob, let's wait and see.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it because
okay,
uh,
but it is.
Mr. Barletta brought it up. I didn't.
Yeah.
He brought it up in terms of their,
Have to click another button.
well, you know, we all have the smart button on our cell phones, right?
Right. The
Okay.
same.
When I first brought that from Somerville many years ago, the union said no. And I persisted. My response was, listen, I can't tell you what to do with your cell phone, but if there's an emergency, you may want to know what's going on. Yeah, it's safer for you, exactly. And right now, I think we have 100% participation.
I would say.
And even still, you know, with authentication, there's there's other options other than cell phone options to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were talking all about that. One of the options would be you sign in and the system sends you an email to the device you're already signed into.
Right.
And then you have to do something.
Yeah.
So, you know, your phone is out of it. I just mentioned the phone because that's what we do with our, you know.
Yeah.
You know, our personal lives.
I mean, that's what Google does now. You have to, then it makes you sign in. You have to go to your phone and open up the browser on that, you know, so.
Yeah, our system does not work that way. For example, if I walk away from my desk, if I sign in the morning and I walk away from my desk for a certain period of time, I have to reload. And that's a good safety, safety feature. I also belong to a small group of people who have access to the fingerprint system in the state. They have a really interesting system. I have a username, I have a password, and then they give me a letter and a number, and I have a grid
Oh, yeah. I've had something
that I
like
have
that
to
before.
find where the letter and number intersect.
Yeah, and tell them what the code is at that
That's right.
intersection. Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah,
It's like a mental test.
the worry I have about that is somebody could find my grid. You know, I'm supposed to have it here. Yeah, right. Anyway, so there's lots of ways of doing it. One quick thing regarding the town is 2 DPW workers are leaving as of August 1st. And the custodian has already left, so DPW is in challenging times right now for the town. I just thought, you know, if you bumped into somebody, you may mention it. It happens. I think all 3 are retirees, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Okay. Madam Chair, thank you for your patience. Lots of stuff going on.
No, I know.
So the next item is the fiscal 23 budget update. I have placed a very new 23 budget in your packet. There's two things I want you to know about this document. It was printed through the 30th of June. Therefore, tonight's transfers and tonight's payments are not on here. But if you go to the last page where I did my math so eloquently, you will see that according to this document, we have $151,719.63 left, which is a relief to me because you know how worried I was this year because of the unanticipated and unbudgeted costs. So it includes the $17,615 that I authorized before June 30th. It does not include the $12,064.11. So as of this moment, temporarily, the balance that will be turned to free cash is $139,655.52, which is the number on the bottom.
And some of that will be paying bills that you mentioned, or that's separate than,
I took it off.
oh, the ones that. we
Yeah.
just discussed. Oh, okay.
What I did is I subtracted the 1264.11 from the 151,
Yeah.
which gave me.
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there are some bills that randomly come in. So that's not the final number, but but I don't think there's anything big out there.
No, I'm saying the amount that was approved from fiscal year 2022 that we kicked forward to this year that we have to pay.
That was already.
It was, okay, sorry. Thanks.
That number does not appear on the fiscal 23
Oh, at all.
at all.
Okay, okay.
That's in a separate category kept by the financial director.
So that'll be put towards the extra that we're, I mean, anything basically, but it could be put towards the extra that we're paying to Swampscott.
The 139,000?
Yeah.
No,
Then it gets returned back.
that gets turned back to the town for the use of the town of Nahant in a non-educational way, unless we go to the finance committee and ask for it for a particular purpose in a reserve fund transfer, which is possible.
I was gonna say, is there any scenario that you know of that would require? In terms of unforeseen expenses, especially with special education.
It's possible. At this point, I've gotten over my real paranoia because we had a very expensive special education year. We had $100,000 worth of mechanical failures that we paid for, and we still have what we have. So I'm optimistic that next year, starting at a ground zero, we'll be able to pay all of our bills. We will be getting more circuit breaker, about $30,000 more than we got this year. But we spent all the circuit breaker. I have nothing to roll over. I think I have $3,000. And then in right after the first of the year, I will petition the state for an extraordinary expenditure, special education, extraordinary expenditure payment, which comes in the fiscal year you ask for it. Because when we compare fiscal 23 to fiscal 24, we're gonna have more than 125% increase.
Wow.
And they give us that in special funds. As I told you prior to our discussion about the sixth grade, those funds are present in revolving accounts. Unless we have an additional number of students that's extraordinary.
Right, yeah.
So I think we're gonna be all right. Fiscal 24.
To our knowledge, that hasn't happened yet. We're still at 5. To our knowledge.
I'm sorry,
For students,
6. We picked up another one.
Oh, we did.
Excuse me, I apologize, that's inaccurate. We have been contacted by a parent with 3 children who are informed us that they are moving into the community.
Right.
And one of those students is a 6th grade.
Mhm.
But we don't have any people, that's,
Okay.
That's right.
that pinpoints
So
it.
anticipating 6.
We are
Right.
anticipating at this time 6.
Any incoming 5th graders?
Um,
Particularly girls, no, I'm just kidding.
I'm not sure what the gender is, I know that,
I think we do,
we do, there is one other,
yeah.
what is 10 years old? That's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fifth grade, yeah.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, usually, yeah. So I don't know the gender.
I think we lost the.
Oh.
Oh, maybe she'll call that.
Yeah. Yep, so it's a family of 3 with 2 that would be at our school and 1 that is at Swampscott.
Oh, okay.
So that's. the
Going
sixth
into, would be
grade,
going into
yeah.
Swampscott for the first,
And then a 5th grader, and then a, what's the other?
kindergarten.
Oh, that was.
Oh, no.
Really, thank goodness we have
first grade.
Going into kindergarten,
Okay.
going into 5th grade and going into 6th grade.
Wow.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, it's the same family.
One
Yes,
family,
one family.
Oh, but the one that you're saying about that's enrolling for
Same
6th
family.
grade is the same.
same family, yeah.
Did we,
I think.
I don't think there was anything I did. Yeah, I think Diana might have. Yeah. Yep, she dropped
She'll
it.
text us.
Okay.
Thank you.
so, Madam Chair, moving on, I would like, with your permission, to combine D and E.
Yes, please.
Okay, so as Kevin mentioned, we have robust summer programs going on. We also hired a new occupational therapist whose resume is in your packet. She is an experienced occupational therapist, and the reason I highlight that is for years we've had a coda.
Yeah.
So this is the first occupational therapist we've had, I think 4 years. And very, very knowledgeable, lots of experience, is thrilled to be with us. And now the downside. We didn't find her. I had to pay somebody to find her, and the fee is $8,800.
That's not that bad in the grand scheme.
Well, I had 2 options, Madam Chair, you know all about this. We pay our occupational therapists hourly. So they were gonna put a premium on the hourly rate of, believe it or not, $45 an hour premium. I multiplied that by the number of hours.
Right.
Negotiated with them for a one-time fee up front, and we're coming out about $11,000 a head. It's still expensive.
Yeah,
Is there a guarantee in terms of if she were to leave like a month from now, 2 months from now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole contract.
A clause.
Yeah.
Okay.
but you don't have to pay another fee to find somebody.
That's
else.
right.
Yeah, great, okay. I mean, and 8,800 is, I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
I just paid 45,000, so, for a full-time staff member, so 8,800 sounds really good. Who needs them?
You make me feel good.
Yes, I didn't look at that.
I went
know.
Oh
home,
my God, it's not bad.
I went home and I ran it by my wife and I said, I've never done this in my 56 years. I've never paid anybody to find anybody.
It costs
And she
$60,000.
looked at me and she said, do you need this person? Of course.
Yeah.
She goes, "Then whatever you gotta pay, you gotta pay.
Right.
So I was pleased that I was able to negotiate it down.
Good job, nice.
But still,
Yeah, and I know 8,800 is a lot in a district, you know, that's small,
Yeah.
right, like it matters, but I think I agree with your wife.
they wanted 12.
Good work, then. Nice job.
Nice job.
Okay, so I'm gonna go very quickly, but you asked me a question last meeting and I said, let me make sure that we get approved before I tell you who's working in the program. So I'm gonna review the summer school that's going on now and is very successful. So we have a speech and language therapist, Linda Marquis, who's worked for us before. We have two nurses, Ann Buru, who, believe it or not, graduated from one of my Somerville pre-medical programs in the career vocational technical program several years ago, obviously, and Julie Berman, who I believe Julie is known to many of you, who has been a substitute and worked for us before. They are splitting. Julie's here Monday and Wednesday, and Ann is here Tuesdays and Thursday. Maddie Federo is going to be a part-time reading teacher. I think I mentioned that to you. And she's also going to be the lead teacher next week. She, on Weichi, will be finishing her career with us this summer. She's our OT. And then she will be moving on to a full-time position because she just got fully certified. And our special education teacher is working also. Janice Walwood is working, providing the extended service program. We have three teachers: Katie Pastor, who's one of our pre-K teachers; Jess Martineau, who is our physical education teacher and was a substitute for STEM and did a very nice job with a lot of support from Kevin. And Lou Wallach, who is a retired English department head from high school. So we have a tremendous staff. We also have three paras: Maureen Locke, who's new to us, but she's an experienced paraprofessional in another district; Ed Goodrich, who's known to us; and Sarah Westenberg, who is also known to us. So that's our staff in our summer school. Then Kevin is in charge of summer school, as he is in charge of the Acceleration Academy. The Acceleration Academy, as a reminder, is August 21, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 8:30 to 12:30. It's an hour longer than our summer program. And the staff will be Erin Morton, Janice Wildwood, Jess Martineau, and Maddie Federo. And we will have a nurse here for all of the hours students are in the building, and that's Marianne Scheckman, someone well known to us, and Dr. Scheckman in the community. So we're thrilled. Neither of those programs have any cost to parents. The only thing parents have to provide is a snack and beverages. And we're taking care of everything else.
Did you say Maddie Federo is in the last group of boards for acceleration, and she's doing that too?
She's actually the lead teacher
Yeah.
in the acceleration, yes.
Is there still, you still have her in there?
Sure do.
Great.
Yeah, we welcome 2 more kids.
I know where that's going.
One is doing hockey, but
Okay.
Orion's love affair with Maddie Federo matches my own. So,
Excellent.
love to see
I don't know.
I would guess it's stronger.
it is, and that's hard to do. He loves her.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on down the line, where are we at this point?
Yeah, Madam Chair, old business, the 2023-24 grade 5-6 plans update in your packet, and I believe I sent it to you earlier. Is the draft of memorandum of agreement between the Swampscott School Committee and the Nahant School Committee. And the attorneys decided to make it an addendum to our 23-27 contract. The reason it says addendum 2 is that the contract is written and then the two principals get involved. There's an addendum about expected connection, cooperative work, professional development, having children go and visit, open house, things like that. That's not in the contract, that's in an addendum.
Okay.
That's why this says addendum 2.
This looks great to me.
Yeah.
Do we have to vote on it again since we already voted? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the document.
Madam Chair, if I may be so bold as to suggest tonight's action is an approval by the school committee authorizing the chair of the school committee of the town of Nahant to sign the document for you. As is indicated on the third page of the agreement.
Unless anyone has any questions.
I don't have any questions.
I'll make a motion for the chairperson of the Nahant School Committee to sign the memorandum of agreement between the Swampscott School Committee and the Nahant School Committee, addendum number 2 to the FY 2023 to FY 2027 contract. Yeah,
I'll second.
great.
All in favor?
Aye. Nice job, team. 1 and 2
Yeah.
right here. A lot of work.
Yeah,
Looks like, like,
I know.
like very little
I
for so
know.
much work. I mean,
Yeah.
so much.
I was very happy to get this.
You must.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And so,
So
with us approving this, they, Swampscott Committee also have to
Yes.
vote on this actual agreement. Do we know when their next meeting would be?
I don't, but I'll get in touch with Glenn and let him
Okay.
know that we met, we approved,
Mhm.
and now the ball's there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Wow, that's a big deal.
That certainly is.
Let's get it right, thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
In the year 2069, this will be in the line items.
And-
All right, and it'll be like historic society.
Under current
Patty.
events.
There'll be a picture of Patty signing the agreement.
So, Madam Chair, if I may move forward into the technical side of the meeting. Item 7B is the what we hope to be, but may not be, the last line item transfers. Obviously, there's 2 sets of books. There's our books, and then there's the town's books. The towns are the official ones, and ours are the unofficial ones because the money originates at town meeting. The problem we have sometimes is rounding. Sometimes the 2 packages don't round the same. So, you may think that rounding, 60 cents up and or 51 cents down may not matter. But if you have all of these entries over and over again, sometimes it does. So you may see a small tickle of more transfers required. The document I showed you earlier in the meeting with the last fiscal 23 balance sheet with $139 doesn't have these transfers. That's why you saw a lot of negative numbers, because these transfers aren't in there yet. But these transfers don't impact the bottom line. It's just moving money from column A to, from one line to another line. That's all it is. But it's very important because Mass General Law does not allow us to end a year with a negative number. By the way, just so you understand, the state can't do it either. Towns can't do it, municipal, only the feds. And ergo the $22 trillion budget deficit, right? Okay, so Madam Chair, as is our habit, I would be happy to read this and go through it. I am not going to read all of those digits. I will just say, oh, let me add one more thing. In order to make the town accountant's job easier, I decided to ask Chris to take all of the required funds from one place. it just seemed, you know, she has a lot to do, the town accountant has a lot to do at the end of the year in terms of opening the new fiscal year and closing. And it's a lot easier if she just, you know, has one page open in front of her and, you know, her computer and just. So that's why you see all of the funds coming out of the teacher salaries, regular education. And if you go back to the other document, you'll see that we have about $40,000 in it. Okay. So. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $1,166 into the school committee legal fund. The line item. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $4,119 into the school committee dues and memberships. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $12 to the superintendent's office services. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $32.48 into superintendent's office supplies. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $3,831.70 into attendance officer. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $90 to the substitute line item. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $403.85 to teaching supplies. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $1,636.08 to guidance salaries. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $675 to custodial salaries. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $10,469.95 to electricity. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $625.01 to gas. To transfer from teacher salaries, regular education, $928.10 into maintenance of building services. For a total of transfers of $23,989.17. Madam Chair, the only thing you may be concerned about and want to question is that electricity transfer. I expected our electric bill to go down dramatically because of our LED. It did. But we had the winter with electric heaters in the cafeteria. Okay, and that won't happen again.
So can I have I'll make a motion to approve the line item transfers as stated by Mr. Parentozzi in the amount of $23,189.17.
Second, the motion made by Ms. Gann.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. New business, the gym roof. So, Madam Chair, I would like some guidance from the school committee. There's multiple ways for me to present this, but as is my habit, I'm just going to take it on. The gym roof is forever old. There's 3 layers, it's about that thick, doesn't leak. Does the school committee want me to take it on? Or do you want me to continue to wait for the roof to have difficulty that may come under a different leadership?
We've talked about this.
Yeah,
We
decided
have,
that-
to let it go for now.
Yeah.
It ain't broke.
That was my memory.
Don't fix it.
It ain't broke. There's absolutely, there was a small leak in one of the entries to the gym, the one that goes out towards the driveway, and we fixed that what, 2 or 3 summers ago.
And that was a flat section unrelated to the main roof.
Yeah, exactly. So actually it was coming through the door jam. So great. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have enough one.
Yeah.
In your packet labeled 8B, you have a document from Mr. Andrews, which is the Nahant Native Plants Gardens Walk. And I certainly. If you want more details, you can read it, you can ask for an explanation, I'm not gonna address this. The only question I have, it starts with number 2, did I?
It was it was 19 gardens, and our garden was stop number 2. And so I just pulled out that page.
Oh, I see,
This was like a release that went to all the
Okay,
visitors,
that's great.
and I just wanted to provide you with a description of what happened.
really good
So,
stuff.
yeah, Diana put this together.
I-
Glad that you had so many participants.
Yeah.
That was a big number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful.
And it's from Marblehead,
4 different
Swampscott.
towns.
So great.
Yeah.
I bragged about you at the department head meeting today.
Oh, thank you.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. It
And
was a
deserved.
pleasure.
Mr. Andrews, do we need to vote on the signs though?
Oh, yes.
I thought it would make, I asked Superintendent Parentazzi, he thought it would make sense to accept the donation of them and also to make them a permanent part. They are temporary right now.
Okay.
They're just stuck in the ground, but I think they should be a permanent part of the school grounds.
I stopped and read the one that was right outside of the,
Yeah,
you know, and I was like, oh, which one's the milkweed, you know, like it
Yeah.
would be great, you know, I think.
And they're hand painted. Peg Curran did an amazing job.
those are good.
Yeah, and they have little icons that indicate if it's full sun, part sun, or full shade on them.
Oh, yeah, no, we definitely have to
Yes.
accept those.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of signs for the gardens.
So there's a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
and I'm gonna take care of a letter on your behalf.
Yeah.
I see we have a piano.
Yes. I can speak to this Superintendent Parentazzi.
Yeah, please do.
I'd be happy to. We had Mr. Bullock work on his piano to tune it. And he did find that there was permanent defects that would exceed the cost of the piano if they were to be repaired. So for that reason, he doesn't use it. And he also finds the fine digital piano that I think we probably paid $600 or $700 for some years ago to be far superior quality in terms of being able to match the volume of the students, change other aspects of the use of the piano. And so for that reason, I thought it would be, this would be something that we could surplus. I don't expect to get any money for it. I did see one on Craigslist, the exact same one for free. And they're hard to get rid of.
They're horrible, David.
Yeah, it's so heavy.
But Mr. Bullock says he cannot do something with the musical.
Yeah.
I'm sure I have support behind his opinion.
Madam Chair, it also is important for members of the school committee to recognize that this piano was not purchased with
Right.
our funds. This was a donated
Donation,
piano,
yeah.
and we did get some use out of it.
Yep.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not a one of the well-known brands.
Right.
So parts for it would be tough to get.
And if you can't surplus it, would you be looking to remove it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that would probably be a cost. Not that I'm saying that we wouldn't do that, but I just want to be clear that we're looking to get rid of junk it.
Yeah, we're looking to be able to use the space it takes up in a more productive manner for children, yeah.
It makes it a little bit more complicated to wax the floors too, because they have to do half and then move it and then half. So,
If we in fact ended up trashing it, then there's a couple of other calls we could make to see if anybody wants it for parts.
Yeah,
Or frankly, in my experience, having had one that had the same fate as this one, you break it apart.
yeah,
You take it apart so that it can be carried.
yeah.
And Madam Chair, the next item is the post-construction material. So this has a little story behind it. This is not Tony and Kevin wanting to get rid of materials because they take up space. We have been asked by the emergency management team of the town to take items and permanently store them in our building so that they don't have to continuously have them in trailers. Now, we are the emergency management site for the town, so it obviously makes a lot of sense for them to be stored in our building. A tour was taken of our building, and the only space we have large enough and accessible enough is in what we lovingly call the dungeon, which is basically under the gym. And none of you will ever see it. So right now, thrown in there is a variety of materials that have been left there post the 2007 construction. So for example, we have miles of rubber baseboard, which lasts forever. We have tiles to replace, boxes of tiles. So what we plan to do is sift through it, keep some baseboard of this color and that color, keep some tiles in case some tiles break, and get rid of all the stuff that's been just piled up over the years. And to be candid, Kevin and I have added to the pile since we've been here. So the DPW will help us get rid of it. And then we will move, we will get some shelving. There is shelving there that we are trying to anticipate and determine whether it's good enough or not. And then the space will be used for storing emergency management materials. In case there's ever an emergency, they'd be used. They are things like bedding, cots, first aid, water, long lasting dry food stuff like that. Did I think
Yeah, I think there's actually no food.
they used, did they get rid of all that food?
It's a good idea.
No, what I'm saying is I think they're not looking to store food. We discussed
Oh,
whether
okay.
there's mice there or not, and,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
and then, and they actually mentioned that they wouldn't be storing, foodstuffs there. But they would store the other items, you mentioned the safety
Okay.
equipment and the blankets.
They may have thrown, the food stuff
Maybe.
may have been, because it was old the last time I saw it, they may have gotten rid of it.
Oh, okay, it
Was
was in
all
the
that is.
trailer, oh, wow.
It's
Yeah.
date specific.
Mhm.
So, Madam Chair, with your permission, I respectfully ask the members of the school committee, a member to make a motion to designate the grand piano and a variety of post 2007 construction materials as surplus. And then I would rely on Mr. Andrews to decide how to put the construction items online for 2 weeks, which is our obligation.
We'll figure it out,
Yeah,
take the pictures.
Should I have a minute?
I'll make a motion to designate the grand piano and construction materials as surplus.
Second, all in favor?
thank you. And then the last item labeled item 8D, which is also accompanied by your admission of non-resident preschool students policy, JFAB, and the general school admissions policy, JF, is a letter from Gladys Elizabeth Cosme and Reginald Rene. It is also from Chris Papagelis, who is a Nahant resident. They are requesting permission for Christian's brother, Matthew, to attend the preschool program at full cost. It's a split family. Christian is already here because the Nahant resident is a primary caregiver, and the one of the other parents is going to be deployed into the Army for 400 days on August 17th. It would seem that it would be reasonable to try to alleviate this family's complexity. And I recommend that you give it every consideration.
So can I clarify? So. So Christian is already at our school,
Yes,
right? And Matthew is in Lynn, and the request is he would be attending preschool in Nahant in the fall.
Yeah,
yes.
At full cost.
Both children have the same mother.
Right.
They have different fathers.
Yep.
One of the fathers is a Nahant resident, it's a family, a long time family resident, grandparents are in Nahant also.
Yeah.
And the deployment of, I think is a piece of the request that really hit me.
Oh, yeah.
it makes sense pragmatically and, you know,
Absolutely.
like, this is,
For me, it's pragmatic, but I feel like we continuously have a policy that doesn't. I know we can admit anybody. But for equity, you know, it's uncomfortable for me to say what circumstance. Outside of our policies that,
Do you feel like it should be readdressed to be more?
I mean,
clear?
I think.
It's
Yeah,
just so hard to like try and predict every single
It
circumstance.
is, but I think it's clear, you know, for. You know, a town employee, employees of the, you know, employees of the school, you know, and personally, like I appreciate everybody's family circumstances, but to say one circumstance for everyone is not difficult.
Right.
The circumstance of another family is difficult for me to be okay with, because I'm not in the realm of gotcha.
No, I agree.
So do we amend this policy to include like your
Siblings, exactly, yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. I see
Yeah.
Michelle's point about the potential for bias also is huge, right? And I think the fact that, like, what if the dad of the younger son wasn't a serviceman, you know, a
Right.
service person,
Absolutely.
like we're all, but well, I shouldn't speak for that, you know, it's hard for me not to be compelled for that, you know, but like, if that person was female, if that person was, you know,
Anything else?
garbage collector, you know, whatever, you know, unemployed or something that wasn't as heralded often, right,
Yeah.
as a service person, right? So I wondered about that too. I think yes, but I think, I wonder, and it is hard, like you can't predict every circumstance,
Right,
but a lot of schools have sibling preference.
yeah. I think
And
was-
so that feels like an easy one. And then there'll be something else more difficult. Seems like this happens every 18 months or so since I've been here. So there'll be something else more complicated and we'll have to think about it, you know, in terms of policy, but I'm glad you looked at the policy aspect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Madam Chair, I'm actually, as soon as I get done all the personnel work for summer programs, I have a list of policies on my desk to review.
Great.
And this is one that I thought you would
That's
like to review
updated,
because it has come across your
Can
table.
we put it on the agenda? Or what would happen?
Well, what I want to do is review the policy, find out some of the other districts, what they do.
Yeah,
Clearly, I'm not disagreeing with anything anybody said,
No,
I'm just
this is
pointing out a
fine.
couple of things. Clearly, the policy JF, which is a universal policy in the state, allows the school committee to take specific action to allow students to attend a public school who don't live in your community. Now, what are some of the reasons? Well, first of all, we're in a paid preschool. You could also say, The superintendent is authorized to take in up to the number of out of district students so that the preschool class is 18, making that up.
Mhm.
That's one way to do it. I don't recommend that, by the way. You could direct me to add town employees to the preschool.
I think town
It is. I
employees
thought it
are
was-
already,
No, it's
Oh, no.
not public school employees.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, several members of the town hall have mentioned
Yes,
that
right.
that may be a very nice thing as the town staff turns over. The nice thing about preschool is, number one, it's not a tax supported
Right.
program, so no one can get up at town meeting and say, you're letting kids from outside the
We're
community
paying
come
the
and we're
taxes,
paying.
yeah.
No,
No, right.
nobody's paying for this. They're paying for themselves. Another example is we send some of our students to other public schools because we don't have special education programs that a larger district would have. We don't have a substantially separate special education program. So we actually send at tuition students to Swampscott,
Right.
Marblehead,
Because we paid for
and we pay for it. So, it's not a, in my opinion anyway, it's not a, this is really unusual. This is actually pretty typical to have students in the public school system who don't live in the community. Not a huge number, but it's pretty typical.
I mean, I think that the preschool is, from like an outsider's perspective, an easier answer than
Mhm.
the elementary school. So I mean, I think there might be a difference in the policies for preschool and elementary school. The only thing I would never want to be in a position where we have so many outside preschoolers that our town residents can't send their students here. So I think we just have to, I mean, obviously, we're not discussing it or voting upon it now, but just to take into consideration. And just, I mean, the last request that was declined by the school committee was not by our group, so I just feel like I can appreciate that there's been differences over the year, and I agree that the policy needs to be addressed again. But just because there's been a no in the past, I don't know that it strongly influences my decision.
And
Yeah.
I'm not saying it from that point of view, I'm saying it from the point of view of equity, and I think to be equitable. We need a better policy.
And it would be nice to look at past requests as far back as we can go to see what has been asked, because we could take that. I mean, like I said, we can't think of every thing, but we can look at what's been brought up in the recent past
Mhm.
and think about what we would want to change versus not keep the same.
For sure, any town employee, I think would be.
Yeah. And Madam Chair, non-resident students may be denied admission for reasons of class overcrowding. We not only look at the numbers we have, but Kevin and I look at the birth dates.
Yeah,
Of
and
student-
who might be enrolling.
And
throughout
we
the
know
year.
there's, last count, there were 4 possible additions to our preschool during the year, right?
All the
Yep, yep.
circumstances might change, and the student that's at a different preschool might want to enroll, so
Yeah.
that total number could be taken into consideration.
So we tried not, and the second part of that, part of your policy is the human part, the humanistic part, that once you accept a student, they're not going to be dismissed for overcrowding. So we have, that's why we're pretty careful about it. We don't want a student to start, go to September to November, and then we have quintuplets going to preschool.
Right.
And then we have to say, well, you're not a resident. I mean, that student would stay.
So along those lines, and to taking into consideration this situation, I don't know if the student would be you know, a first year or second year preschool. But, you know, they talk about the time frame of deployment, or like, would this be for the 2023-24 academic year? And that if they wanted to extend it to the following year, they would have to reapply?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
always done that.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good question.
I wasn't saying that we should extend it only for the terms of the deployment. I guess I'm thinking ahead, like it just goes for one academic year.
Yes. And actually, in my career here, I've never had an exception for more than 1 year.
Preschool. And yeah.
Oh, and that's what the thing that you brought up that made me think of it, is if a student comes to the preschool and is found to need special education services, and it's right here, number 10, that they're not up, just from the town, you know, like from the taxpayer's perspective, that
Yeah.
maybe they're not eligible for special needs services. So what if they're identified to need special supports while they're here? What happens?
If they're,
We treat them like any other kid when they're here, right?
if,
That's what I-
if
that-
those, yeah, if those
That's what I
supports. If those supports are typically given to preschool children without additional costs, they're done. If they are extraneous costs that are atypical, example would be. A child needs a multi-thousand-dollar evaluation.
Yeah.
In a hospital in Boston, you know, with a 2-week stay, then we would go to the town of residence and we would petition for them to pay it, and
And they would
we would
say,
win,
we would win, they would have to pay,
yes.
yeah, okay.
The town, the
Yeah, I
city or
think
town of
that's-
residence would have to pay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the enrollment of Matthew, Renee for the academic year 2023-2024.
A second.
In favor?
Opposed?
And would you like me to review this policy and
Yes.
this is actually one of the first policies I wrote.
This-
Yeah, I started in July of 16 and. So it's old.
That's the thing, always need to be revised.
Okay, do we have any other committee business? I do not.
Kind of, sort of, a little bit.
Okay.
I did work on project planning, like the big projects that we have this year. And I'm just gonna get the feedback from Mr. Andrews about like the blended curriculum model and how we're gonna be. The timeline for evaluation throughout the school year. I don't think it's anything that even needs to be voted upon when it comes out, but I'll maybe we'll. Can we put that on the next meeting for review?
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be voted upon, but I feel like it would be good to have a framework. We don't have to rigidly, just to keep us on time, you know, because we need to decide on the next year's, you know, 2024-25 sixth graders, long-term planning, superintendent search. We felt like there was a lot.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna
I
ask
just
for us to
sort
have
of
a project
penciled out.
list too, yeah.
I just kind of like
Yeah.
penciled out the project
It
list.
feels like we have some big.
Yeah,
work
big
ahead of
things.
us, Yeah.
Can I
So
make,
it's not like overwhelming. And so we're not addressing every single thing at every single meeting. Oh, yeah, that's. The colors just don't come out very good.
Yeah, you have to use real light colors.
I'll do that, but I'll figure it out. I colored.
Which one's blue?
Pink is long-term planning, blue is item specific to the rising sixth graders, and yellow you can actually see is superintendent search. But Tony and Liana gave me some feedback, and I'm gonna look for feedback from Kevin and.
Okay,
Great, thank you for doing
thank
that.
you.
Yes, I think
That's
that's
helpful.
I'm happy to review.
Anyone have any announcements?
No.
Can I have a motion to? Into executive.
I'll make a motion to adjourn regular session at 8:40 PM. To convene an executive session, not to go back to regular session, in order to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Superintendent.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
We're so happy, and I'm. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, that's joining me.
Sure.
I really am.
Especially.
Um,
Gonna be challenging.
So you're going executive, what are we? this is
Right, right.
Recording.
I know.
But it's still, it's on the town hall's website, website account. I have it on the right account. Oh, yeah, stop recording.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
Hi, Liana.
It's still recording.
Yeah, it's still recording. I'm gonna stop the recording right now. Here I go.